Let's start with our warm up, starting with marches. So knees up, little swing of the arms. The blood flowing. Moving on to arm circles, so arms going forwards, backwards. You can do big circles, little circles. And moving on to squat, so feet approximately shoulder width apart. Coming straight down and back up again. Try not to bend over. So you should be looking forward, not at the floor. Oh, cute little kitty. Next is march with our heels up. So try to touch your butt with your heels. Good stretch for your thighs and hamstrings. Moving on to arms wide, so arms straight out in front, shoulder height. And then bring those arms back as far as we can, squeeze those shoulder blades together, then bring the arms forward again. Doesn't have to be a long squeeze, just a little squeeze and then bring your hands and arms forward. Moving on to stick ups, so arms straight overhead. Bring your elbows down and back as if you're trying to put your elbows in your back pocket. And then shoot them right back up again over your head. Do one more. And back to squat. So again, big shoulder width apart, squatting straight down and back up again. So, fun workout today, 2 parts. I'll quickly go through the first part and then we'll get right into it. And then when we finish that, I'll explain the second part. So first thing we're going to do is a squat and press. So you'll need a weight or 2, whichever you have available. Weights just above your shoulders. Again, feet approximately shoulder width apart, squatting down, up. Press those weights up, back to your shoulders, and then squat back down again. If you only have one weight, it can look like this. Squatting down, weight straight up. Our next exercise is going to be an I and Y. So arms straight out in front, bring those arms up, and then a Y, just like in the old song by the Village People, YMCA, and then back to an I. So you want to make sure that you're hinged at the hips when you're doing your I's and Y's. And the last exercise is a plank up. You can do this from the floor or a table, bench, couch. Push-up position. You can also do these from your knees if you can't do them from your toes. So down on the right elbow, then the left, back up on the left, back up on the right. This time we're going down on the left arm. So down on the left, down on the right. And we're just going to alternate each time coming up. If you're doing them from a bench, it's going to look like this. Bit easier, so coming down and then back up again. Try to keep your hips as still as possible during this exercise. So we're going to do that 30 seconds, 4 times, and then we'll move on to our second part of the workout. So let's start with a squat and press. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So squatting down, arms straight up, back down, arms up. Here you're keeping your knees in line with your toes. And done. Moving on to our I and Y. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So arms straight out in front, and then at a 45-degree angle. Keep breathing, shouldn't be holding your breath through any of this. And done. And our last exercise in this round is the plank up. So again, from the floor or from a bench, chair that's up against a wall, whichever you prefer. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So from your toes or from your knees, whichever you prefer. Keeping our hips nice and still. Almost there. And done. Let's have a quick sip of water and we'll start round 2. Starting with the squat and press. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Ten seconds. And done. Moving on to I and Y. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So arms straight out, and then at a 45-degree angle. Knees are slightly bent. and done. Moving on to plank ups. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. And done. And that's round 2. Going back to the top with a squat and press. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Five seconds. And done. Moving on to I and Y. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So arms straight out, and then 45-degree angle. And done. Moving on to plank ups. Again, you can do them from the floor or from a bench, chair. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Keeping our hips nice and still, they shouldn't be turning. And done. Great job. That was round 2 done. Let's have a quick sip of water and before we start round 3. Starting with squat and press. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. And done. Moving on to I and Y. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Arms out straight in front and then 45-degree angle. Knees slightly bent. And done. On to plank ups. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Remember, we're alternating as to which arm we go down on. Keeping our core nice and tight. Hips are still. And done. Great job. One more round. And then we'll move on to part B. Let's have a quick sip of water. Starting off again with squat and press. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Everybody looks good. And done. Moving on to I and Y. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Knees slightly bent, hinge at the hips, arms out straight, and then a 45-degree angle. Almost there. And done. Last exercise in this section, the plank ups. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Halfway. And done. And that's it for section 1. So the next section, I'll just go through it quickly. First one is going to be a deadlift. You're going to take your weight, stand it on end. Going to squat down, keeping our chest up and out. Squatting at the knees. Come down, pick your weight up, and then straight. Hold it for a second, and then squat right back down. Now, if you can't squat, if your weight's not big enough that it's going to touch the floor and you can't squat, that's fine. You're just gonna squat up and down with your weight. Next is a towel tension skull crusher. So grabbing your towel. Down on the floor. Knees bent. Feet flat on the floor, lower back is touching the floor. Going to try and pull that towel apart as much as you can. And you're just going to bring that towel back to your head and then back up again. So this part of your arm and your elbow shouldn't move. They should be in the exact same position the whole time. When you get down to here, your elbow should be sticking up at the ceiling and then back up again. Next is a band abduction. So if you have a band, you're going to wrap that band around your knees. Just above your knees. You're going to squat down like we normally do a squat, and then you're going to walk side to side. Keeping that squat the whole time. If you don't have a band, that's fine. You can just do a squat and walk side to side. Or, third option, are skater steps. So standing on one foot, gonna bring your foot back, step over, bring that other foot back. And just as if you're skating. It's my version of skating, I'm not a skater. And last exercise is a bird dog. So down on your back. Arms and legs up in the air, opposite arm, opposite leg will be lowered to the floor. So left arm, right leg, and then right arm, left leg. Make sure your foot doesn't touch the floor at any time. Want to keep that lower back pressed into the floor. Little trick is before you start, if you tilt your hips up, that will help keep your lower back in the floor. So let's start with deadlift. So these are going to be 30 seconds on with a 15-minute rest. And we're going to do each exercise 3 times, and then we'll move on to the next one. So starting with deadlift. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So try to keep your upper body as straight up as possible. So your chest should be facing the wall in front of you, not the floor as you bend down. And rest. And start. Keep those shoulders back. Five seconds. And rest. And start. Last time for the deadlifts. Halfway. And done. Moving on to the towel tension skull crusher. Now you can do these standing. I should have said that. You don't have to be on the floor for these. If you wanted to do them standing, arms are going to be up straight over your head, and then you're going to bring that towel back behind your head, and then back up again. I have to admit, I find that easier to do them lying on the floor than I do standing up, but that is an option. Okay. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Keep pulling on that towel as if you're trying to rip it apart. And rest. And start. And rest. And start. Last time. So you should be able to feel this in your triceps, so that's the back of your arms. And done. Next is the band abduction or the skater steps, whichever you prefer. So if you're using a band, it should be just above your knees. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So squatting down, and you're going to walk side to side. Or if you're doing skater steps. You really feel this in your glutes. And rest. And start. And rest. And begin. Almost there. And done. Moving on to bird dog. So down on the floor. Arms and legs up in the air, small of the back, pressed into the floor. Starting in 3, 2, 1, go. So extending opposite leg, opposite arm. Legs should be out straight, but not touching the floor. Keep your core engaged. And rest. And start. And rest. One last time. And start. Keep your core engaged. And done. And that's our program for today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Evolve Fitness Forever, virtual. Pleasure to see each and every one of you. I hope to see you again soon. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.